gentlemen, my name is John Schwartz, and I'm thrilled to have this audience here. You are in for a treat. Normally, when we start a band concert, I would normally let the band do the talking first, but this piece needs an introduction. We, in the band world, there are just standard band pieces, and you're going to hear a couple of those tonight. And then there's some things that are going to, like, peel the paint off the back wall. And you're going to hear some of those tonight. This is one of those. This is what we would call a stretch piece. There was a lot of learning that had to happen in order for a piece like this to happen. It's what we call a tone poem. A tone poem is much like you would think in the poetry world. It has a certain form to it, a little bit of a structure to it, but it's very different. And it is literally based on a poem, a Native American poem that tells sort of the story of an antelope. And sort of you'll hear it in the fields. You're going to hear the Native American overtones, if you will. Some of the sounds that you'll hear will be very reminiscent of that. It will be very effectual. It's going to start with some wind, and then it will end with some wind. So at the very end of this performance, my hands will come down. That will indicate to you that we are in fact done, and it's not going to spin back up again. It's going to do it a couple times, so be on your toes. But we hope you enjoy this very new work by John Carnahan named In the Antelope Play. Thank you, band students. Isn't that an interesting work? It's for a young group like this is a huge mental challenge because it's very independent and very different than a typical let's start at the beginning, end all together kind of band work. Very effectual. So we have enjoyed learning that and really stretching and growing the kids. Real quick, if I could have the house lights up for just a second, and I would like to direct your attention in your programs to the third to last page, right before our patrons. We have had an incredible experience this year bringing in coaches. These are some of the most wonderful professionals in our community and some of the very best players on their respective instruments. And you can kind of see and read some of their biographies. These are like legit musicians, and they have been coming in almost weekly since the beginning of the year through our fundraising dollars and some of your fee dollars and supporting these students, giving private, semi-private individual instruction. So my coaches, I think all of you are here. I think I've seen all of you at this point. Jesse and Kip and Heidi and Benji, if you are in the house, can I have you stand to be recognized? Yeah, Benji's up in the back there. Jesse, Heidi. Thanks, guys. There's no greater joy than to watch a consummate professional work with your children and your children stepping up to the plate and coming every week, learning and growing and developing. The sounds you just heard would not have been possible without that program. And so thank you to the Boost organization and the coaches for allowing us to do that. This next piece is just great fun. It's called Abracadabra. We hope you enjoy. It brings me no greater joy than to make music with a friend. And tonight, one of the things that is critical to a band student encounter is with someone who is so far beyond what they comprehend as a musician. And that's what we've brought in tonight. A dear friend, an alumnus, a class of 2003. I will spare you all of the amazingness of his resume. You can read all about that in one of the transitions. I would highly encourage you to do so. Brandon is just an incredible human being, an incredible musician, dear friend, and I think you are about to experience the pure joy of his music making. So, without further ado, can you help me welcome him to the stage to perform a Trumpeter's lullaby, Mr. Brandon Ridenour. All right. We have an amazing new opportunity, and I've prepared some remarks. You see in your program the new Travis Mazer Memorial Scholarship presentation. I have a few remarks I'd like to read, and then when I do call the student, I would ask the student just stand to be recognized, and then we will connect afterwards to discuss. While I never had the opportunity to know Travis personally, his legacy will live on in the Portage Northern Band program. An outstanding trombone player, musician, student, and leader, Travis honed many of the skills that made him later excel in higher education in the band program here at Portage Northern. In speaking with his family, the stories they shared, there were 3 words that really resonated throughout each of the stories: dedication, service, and musicianship. As an honor to this incredible young person, the family has established the Travis Mazer Memorial Scholarship. This will be a $500 scholarship presented annually for the student as they enter their sophomore year to use within the band program to extend their opportunities in music. I believe that Travis's parents, Kevin and Wendy Mazer, are here with us tonight, and I would like to ask if we could bring the house lights up, that we can recognize them for this generous scholarship offer that they have provided for our students. Kevin and Wendy, are you with us this evening? Yeah, wait, there we are. At the conclusion of tonight's event, will our recipient join us with the Mazer family maybe in the lobby, and we can snap a quick photo. But at this time, I would like to honor Travis Mazer with the Dedication, Service, and Musicianship Award. Would you please stand, Miss Sarah Kaczynski? A very, very big honor to be our first annual. At this time, we are going to do a little transition, a little housekeeping. So if we could have the lights back up, the bands are going to transition. We'll be back in about 5 minutes to do that. All right, we are back with you. Another joy that we have here in our program is raising up new young teachers and performers to go out into the world and do what we do elsewhere. This semester we were blessed to have Thomas Huffmaster with us as our student intern teacher. He's been with us since January and has worked with the kids day in and day out, kind of learning to be a band director and learning to be sort of the professional on that side of college. He's gladly accepted an assistantship and teaching assistantship at the University of Wisconsin to pursue his master's degree in tuba performance, actually. So as soon as he gets done with us, he is going to be jet setting to the other side of our pond and pursuing his advanced degree there. But to take Symphonic Band through Melodious Thunk, which I think you will enjoy, a very, very new work, please welcome to the stage Mr. Thomas Huffmaster. All right, y'all ready to hear some notes? Let's welcome to the stage Mr. Brandon Ridenour. A lot of fun, huh? I think he practiced a little before he came. Gosh, what a fun. My favorite, and I'm going to just go off script here for a second, but my favorite was when we very first did this, and we've been preparing this background for 10 weeks, and they play the first 2 chords and cut out, and I've been telling them that there's a note or 2, but didn't really allude to maybe how many, and they just started awkwardly giggling and couldn't come in on the next one. They just were so dumbfounded yesterday when we ran this the first time, so it's been really neat to see the kids' eyes open to how human he is and yet how superhuman his talents are. So he was one of us not that long ago. So up next, speaking of people who have moved on, can we have the lights up one more time, because this thing just keeps getting cooler. We have an alumni, we've had a series of alumni who have now pursued composition beyond high school. I have no idea how this keeps happening because I am terrible at composition. And I get them started and then they fall in love with it and they zoom off. And Caleb Hammer, if you've been here for 20 minutes, you've heard a Caleb Hammer piece. I'm trying to help him launch his career, but I think he is in the house. He just premiered a work last night somewhere east of here. Caleb, there you are. Can you stand? We are going to perform his Tidewater, but I'd love to just recognize Caleb as another familiar face. He's had about 10 performances of this around the country. This is the first time he's hearing it live. So kind of a neat thing that we get to do, and we will be taking this on to Ireland and kind of getting on the other side of the pond with his work to sort of spread the love. But I think you will find that this, in very, very short order, we're going to have another very famous alum that we're all going to be bringing back to do more commissions with. So we hope you enjoy 2013, right? Wow, I pulled that one out. 2013 alum Caleb Hammer's Tidewater.
Good evening. My name is Melissa Holso. I'm the assistant director here at Northern High School, and I have the privilege of announcing our varsity and chevron recipients for the 2017-2018 school year. Every student that enrolls in our program earns their first point, and these opportunities are earned on a point-based system based on volunteerism throughout the program, participating in solo and ensemble, as well as lessons and KJSO and so on and so forth. So students, as we announce your name, please stand. Friends and family, if we could hold our applause until the end, that would be splendid. Our varsity letter recipients: Andrea Burton, Aaliyah Chambers, David Clark, Nicholas Corey, Simon Darrow, Kelsey Everett, Lee Everett, Caitlin Graby, Kai Grader, Aaliyah Hughes, McKenna Lobbs, Lena Lukowski, Sarah Reed, Connor Rourke, Drew Stevens, and Cody Wesley Flatt. Congratulations to all. Earning their first chevron this year, meaning they've already accrued their first letter and now they're having an additional chevron, we have Madeline Corey, Jillian Bright, Jessica Burton, Courtney Bias, Julian Carino, Ben Eiler, Nicholas Ghosh, Adriana Hernandez, Kirsten Jordan, Christine Kim, Sydney Krugel, Madison Mace, Melissa McKenzie, Xavier Silva. Well done, friends. Earning their second chevron, we have Patrick Clark. Great job, friend. And this evening, earning 3 chevrons, or their third chevron, we have Kenzie Farmald and Ben Freeman. Thank you so much. Symphonic Band, excellent job. You are going to head exiting the right side. Wind Ensemble, please take the stage. Soul and emotion into that heart part. Oh wait, we gotta go back. Backstage. Mine is there.
Correct.
Did you see I pulled that stat?
I did. I appreciated it.
We're back. The next piece that we will be performing as a band, the band is relatively new. In the greater scope of things, we're the baby in the classical music idiom. So we don't have a lot of cool lit by Beethoven. Just wasn't around yet. So the wind band medium sometimes gets pigeonholed into two camps, either the really ultra-modern stuff that you've heard and you're about to hear a whole lot more of, or the sort of Americana, the gazebo band, the military band, our roots, that's where we came from. Very rarely do we get an original by a master. And Aaron Copland is arguably the 20th century's most important American composer. The things he did and what he was writing at the time was so America that we didn't even completely understand and embrace it while he was here with us. To have an original work for band on its sorta band, you'll notice we have a few folks missing, and that's okay, we'll bring them back in a minute. But to do an original by a master is one of the coolest things as a student performer that you can do. Add to that an incredible guest soloist, and then layer in an even more incredible guest student artist on a really incredible instrument that's very, very difficult to play, the English horn, and what you have is magic. The story, the coolest thing about this piece that I want to share with you is that it was a complete failure. It was actually incidental music, if you can believe this. So sort of in our days, incidental music would be like that garbage you hear in the elevator when you ride up and down, okay? That's what Copland was writing when he wrote this. Imagine if our elevators sounded like this. But he wrote this as an incidental work for a play, and the trumpet that you are hearing is in reference to a brother who had passed away, a student or a brother or a colleague, a friend, and the memory of his trumpet playing. This tune is sort of that echo in this incidental music. So I'm going to welcome back out to the stage to join us on Copland's Quiet City, Mr. Brandon Ridenour, and our guest student, Jacob Zufall on the English horn. So Brandon, come on out. There you go. I won't kick that. We'll see how things go. Yeah, for sure. Good. You all set? Good. Sorry, that was really for me. I just needed to catch my breath. Hey, I was loving the fact that we had Brandon out for 3, and we were like, hey, let's do one more. So do you mind bringing Brandon back out real quick to do another one? So Brandon, come back out. One more? 2 more? Do you want to play Niagara? Oh, sure you are. So one of the coolest things that he has said over the last few weeks, or a few days, gosh, few weeks, it feels like a few weeks.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
I'm not sure it is.
But thank you.
You're
anyways.
welcome.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it. It's been...
Compliment accepted.
There you go. He also, on top of all of this magnificent classical style playing, is also quite the jazz artist and plays with a group called Founders. And I believe this is a work y'all do with Founders. Is that a true statement?
It's a new arrangement. We just started doing it, yeah.
Awesome. And so we asked him to, like, hey, play some jazz with us too. And so he sent me this PDF. He's like, here, give this a swing. And we're like, cool, let's try it. And out came quite possibly one of the most fun things we've done all week.
Ah, well, great. We should probably do it for them at sometime soon.
Hey, let's get on with it. So we hope you enjoy Echoes of Harlem.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say, since they don't know what the piece is, so I might as well introduce the piece. It's not in the program.
Why don't you tell them?
Not to delay things anymore, but here we go. This piece is called Echoes of Harlem, and it was written for a trumpet player in the Duke Ellington Band. It is a song by Duke Ellington, and this trumpet player, his name was Cootie Williams. I don't know if he was born with the name Cootie, but that's how he became known in the, that's how he was known in the Duke Ellington Band. And he sort of pioneered the sound of the trumpet, being the wah-wah technique, which will be done with a very particular, sophisticated device, that over there, known as the wah-wah mute. Its technical term is the Harmon mute, but you'll see exactly why it's called the wah-wah mute in a little bit. But I just wanted to say, it's been a real pleasure and a truly positive, nostalgic experience coming back here to Portage Northern High School. I haven't been in some time, and I recall actually 15 years ago when I graduated, we played Quiet City right here. So I wanted to do that. That was sort of my request. I will only come back if we get to recreate my senior year.
He's not kidding.
Yeah, I know. I've been thinking the last couple of days, I want to go back to high school. This is fun. I had a really great time here. And our band director, Josh and I couldn't hear backstage if you already embarrassed both of us, but I will do it. We had the same band director. Josh is older than me, not much older than me, 3 years older than me. He was a senior role model drum major when I was a wee little freshman, and I was really short when I was a freshman, yeah. Right, and Josh was born that height. Right, and that bald too. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, most of us were born bald, so yeah. Right, some of us stayed true to our, anyway. It's been an incredible experience coming back here, and it's so nice to see so many similar things happening here, vibe-wise, musically, that we had with David Papenhagen, our band director. So it's a really great program. Please keep supporting it. These kids, I know, if you're anything like I was when I was in high school band, I had a poop ton of fun. I got censored earlier yesterday. You can ask your kids about it. But accidents happen. I live in New York. Things are a little rough there. Anyway, it's been incredible to come back. This song, Echoes of Harlem by Duke Ellington, I hope to be back and the censorship didn't get in the way too much. So thank you for having me.
Incredible moments like that are made with incredible people, and tonight we get the opportunity to share our incredible moments with our senior class. This is it, friends, we're here. So as the school year comes to a close, we as educators, we spend a lot of time reflecting on the past school year. And so for me, there are some days that I feel I've been teaching for at least 20 years already, and I have the stress lines in my forehead to prove it. I have 2 for 6th grade band this year. And then there are some days that I feel like I'm a brand new teacher, and it's the very first day, and I'm constantly surprised, and there's stories and sounds and random smells happening in the band room, and it's great. And so this year, for this year of reflection, in particular, it's very startling for me because I remember and reflect back to fall of 2011, where I was student teaching here in Portage, my very, very first year. And I remember specifically interviewing with Mr. Bartz at Panera, and I was like, you know, not really doing the teaching thing. I'm going to explore my musical opportunities elsewhere and do other stuff. And he's like, okay. And that philosophy lasted about 2 weeks for me. And so I only bring up fall of 2011 because that was the same year that the seniors sitting on stage and the seniors sitting next to you were attempting to assemble their instrument in 6th grade for the very first time. I know, right? Oof. So the many conversations we've had of, no, your instrument is not assembled that way, and no, it's not supposed to make that sound, and I promise it does get better, but you actually have to take it home and practice it more than once. And so I promise it gets better. So fast forward a few years later, and these 6th graders have now become my 8th graders when I got my big kid teaching job here in Portage, and they became my 8th grade band. I've never rehearsed a band in this program that did not have these seniors participating in it, and I've never known this program to not have them in it at all. Thank you, seniors, for allowing me to be such a small portion of your life because you've made such an incredibly huge impact in mine. Thank you for the laughter and the tears. I admire you completely and adore you all for what you are now and what you have yet to become. Congratulations, seniors.
I know this isn't in the program, but real quick, the band boosters, we made an oops. Last week, as many of you know, was Teacher Appreciation, and oops, we missed that. And for Mr. Bartz and Ms. Holso, there are no 2 deserving teachers more than these 2. So I am here to apologize. You can fire me, it's okay. But since you spend so much time not only with our students, especially marching season, you also have to put up with the parents. So we really appreciate you and your families for giving you up to our families during marching season, during concert season. And so for each of you, we have a small token of appreciation. It's some spending money for Ireland. We would like for you, there's a catch, to use the money to bring back a gift to your family since we are stealing you one more time away from them to take us to Ireland.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Pam.
That is very, very thoughtful. I appreciate that. Oh, I'm still not kidding on the mic. Okay.
All right, don't run far, Mr. Bartz. All right, so I don't think many of the folks out there know who I am, which is perfect. Witness Protection Program works again. Woohoo! Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, band, all the way over there. So tonight I am here to represent the senior parents from the graduating class of 2018. My journey didn't start in 2011 or 2003. I think I have clothing that is older than your graduating year, but that's cool. And excuse me if my jokes are a little aged or dry because the one young man, Brandon, already took the poop joke, the bald, the high, and Miss Holso already took smelly band room. So that kind of blows through everything I had written down. Anyhow, so my purpose here tonight is to bestow some mushy accolades and a small gift to Ms. Holso, Mr. Bartz, the rest of the band leadership team. And I say band leadership team for a reason because while any number of parents would have gladly got up here and stared into those bright lights and sweat behind this podium and not seen anything beyond this young lady here in front of me, I wanted to address it from a different perspective because I'm here for maybe different reasons than some folks. I don't know if y'all are any good, okay? I'll be honest. My air guitar is out of tune, all right? That's how little I know about music. But what draws me is my son came here in 2017, halfway through his junior year, and Mr. Bartz was his 5th band director in 8 years. All right, when you move that many schools, that many states, that many band directors, you hear a lot of hot cross buns, a lot. And my wife, being a prior band person herself, she said, well, you know, you're gonna do marching band. You're gonna do it. And she said, if nothing else, if you do it right, you'll enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, everything else in life will be based off of that. For example, you start something, you get 10 seconds into it, you mess up, you start over again, and you do that 100 times for 2 hours, that was marching band. You stand in line for hours in the hot, sweaty sun to finally get to some end goal. That's marching band. It's also the DMV, I promise you, they're not that much different. So we get our son out there in marching band, and lo and behold, he loved it and he enjoyed it. And we're like, this is strange, you know, because, you know, all of the band folks, y'all are out there in the heat, the sun, the rain. There was frost in the morning, and that's just one day in southern Michigan. And finally, I came out to see what was up with the band program, and I saw Ms. Holso and I saw Mr. Bartz up in their little crow's nest up there over by the fence line by the tennis courts, and I saw all the students out there on the drill pad, and they were getting a little noisy, and you could tell they were getting ready to start things up, and I was just thinking to myself, man, this is where they're gonna get it, right? Because in my life, when you have that many 18-year-olds that you gotta get in formation, it usually involves yelling, screaming, and threats to do bodily harm. But he didn't. He just said, okay, everybody, let's get it straight. And he said, you know, ja, ya, and then said, dun, dun, da, dun, dun, and everybody just, boom, moved to their spots. I was like, this is awesome. He didn't threaten to crush anyone's soul. He didn't talk about doing so much bodily harm that somebody's future children would walk funny. It was awesome. So, you know, in looking back, based on mandatory reading, what I learned is Mr. Bartz and Ms. Holso and the rest of the team, they have a why, okay? And a person's why is their purpose, and it's normally retained in that part of the brain that lacks the ability to generate speech and words, so it's right up there with hate, love, that kind of stuff. And usually it comes out of some generic term like, well, because I care, right? And what does that really mean? So the biggest thing about a why and a purpose is the demonstration and the results of the individual's actions, okay? And the other great thing about a why and a purpose is it's infectious. So if y'all don't know, you have been infected by Mr. Bartz, okay? Don't worry about getting tested, it's a great thing. And at the end of a long day on that hot drill pad, they were still smiling, and they got in line because they needed to, even on the 100th time of playing that half sheet of music over and over again until they could sing it or play it in their sleep, and they did it because they were inspired. They weren't motivated. Motivated is to get to a goal based on some targets and some gates. They were inspired to do what they needed to do, and that, I think, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason that I and the other parents so greatly appreciate what y'all have done with our students is because you've inspired them. And the young man, Mr. Hammer over there, I know that you're not getting a lot of royalties because you're not famous enough yet, but I've had 4 other band directors, and there's a lot of old dead composers. They could choose their music. I've seen the books. But because he has a why and a purpose, and that purpose is for y'all, he does that. He selects that music. There's hundreds of people he could select from, and he didn't. So, on behalf of the rest of the senior parents of the class of 2018, we would like to give you this sweet quilt that one of the parents just kind of whipped together. I mean, it's fabulous. And it is the band shirts from the last 4 years of performances that the class of 2018 would have been here for.
I'm short. So if you know Bart's at all, you know he hates public praise, so this is probably miserable for you, so thanks for sticking that out. But my name is Jillian Bowe. I'm one of 41 seniors in the band program this year, which is crazy and surreal and everything I didn't expect it to be because it's finally here. But I think I speak for all of us when I say that I have found Bart's influence everywhere in my life. This band program extends much more outside of this stage and the band room and what you guys see, but I think I, again, speak for all of us when I say he has grown us as musicians, as leaders, and as people all the way through. And I'm keeping this brief because I know you hate this, but though many of our musical journeys end physically here tonight, I know that the stories we tell are forever. So to commemorate this, the senior class has come up with this cute little traditional collage of, you can't, that's upside down. But I don't know if you can see it, but that's all of our senior pictures, which is kind of cute for the office. And as well, the thing this year, we've also gotten you a pretty sick speaker system for your office.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's so great.
Because I don't know how he is a band director who listens to music and doesn't, and your speaker's really small. Yeah, so we did that for you, but thank you for everything you've done for us inside and out of music, and I can't wait to come back and visit and see what you're doing next year, so thank you for being you.
This is all gone off the rails now. I had my whole speech here, and we were going to do that. All right, so I want to give some more words now, and I want to talk, and then we're going to play some music, and then let you go home sometime tonight. This year is always a time of challenge for me, and I look at each of the bands in the program at large, and I see our family. I see kids who have worked through the small things, the first relationships and the breakups and all that fun stuff. And I also remember some of the bigger things. Some of these kids have gone through some real life over the last few years, some real struggles that they've pursued. The hardest part, however, is seeing the void when these seniors are gone. In the last few weeks, with all the AP and IB testing, many of the seniors have been absent for a day here or there, or some of them since May 2nd. And in that moment, the hardest part for me every single year is seeing the jarring reality that's to come, that this program without those faces, and it's heartbreaking. 90 hours. 90 hours is what researchers have discovered as the key to friendship while participating in a mutually enjoyable activity. Roughly 90 hours. As I think about this senior class and that statistic, I am reminded of all of the hours spent not just in rehearsal, but those moments doing life together. In the band room, stressing out about the next test, or in the hall after a major breakthrough in studying, all the giggling on the bus, or simply chit-chatting in the office about the day. I am reminded of the easy procedural questions that they ask and the not so easy life decisions they try and make. I'm reminded of the tears and the laughs and many, many, many musical moments over the last 4 years. So, looking through the future plans section of our booklet, it's exciting and humbling to see where all of these students are headed in the near future. I have been truly inspired by you, and each and every one of you. Caitlin, Ella, Jillian, Andrea, Tian, Stephanie, Madeline, Hannah, Skylar, Mackenzie, Alyssa, Ben, Jackson, Daniel, Kai, Hannah, Gustavo, Isabel, Matthew, Isabel, Laura, McKenna, Becca, Andrew, Joseph, Lily, Izzy, Lauren, Zach, Brandon, Andrew, Kaylin, Sarah, Jacob, Frank, Nick, Olivia, Kim, Grace, and Jacob for the countless hours, the blood, sweat, and tears, and most importantly, the smiles and musical moments we made along the way. So congratulations, senior class of 2018. Now I get to have some fun. I was joking with the seniors earlier. We do present a couple of awards. With 41 seniors, I can't give them all. We did that at a senior dinner a few weeks ago where I got to have a moment with each of them. And I shared with them that I didn't win a single one of these when I was in band, and I just think that's comical now. We have a few awards to present to identify a couple of kids who have done some pretty remarkable things over the last few years. The MSBOA Scholar Musician Award. This is a relatively new award over the last few years designed to honor one senior from a Michigan band program who, through the course of their band career, excelled at and participated in every facet of the band program while also excelling academically. Without a doubt, I teach some of the smartest kids at Northern. The student we have chosen to recognize tonight with this award has achieved every bit of that description, all while also excelling in athletics. He's well-rounded, he's great for a laugh, he's grown a tremendous amount over the last few years, Christmas tree, and is going to keep playing his mellophone at the University of Michigan in the fall. Tonight's MSBOA Scholar Musician, Mr. Ben Friedman. Come on over, Ben. Every once in a while, I have a student who needs to be recognized for their outstanding contribution to the program, and he just doesn't quite fit in another award. This student wasn't with us for all 4 years. He came to us a little bit late, but immediately began to make his mark. I knew something special was afoot at the premiere of his saxophone quartet, Turbulence, at the Holiday Collage, and then again at Solo and Ensemble. He has since grown as a composer to new heights, and I am proud to announce that we will also be premiering his new work for concert band this summer in Ireland. He will be attending WMU to study composition this fall, and you heard his wonderful performance on Quiet City on the English horn. Please congratulate Mr. Jacob Zufall for tonight's Director's Award. Come on up, Jacob. Each year, I'm able to present one department award for Outstanding Senior in the band program. This is our pinnacle achievement. While the award has already been presented, I would like to read the remarks I read the other night at the Senior Awards night. In the music department, we are thrilled to have so much raw talent, but in music, like in other areas, raw talent can only get you so far down the track of success. The band program would like to recognize a senior tonight who has an immense amount of raw talent, but has also paired it with an unbelievable work ethic, creating an outstanding performer. The recipient of the band award has been achieving at the highest levels on her instrument since we met, now 6 years ago. Her level of musical accomplishment has rarely been achieved in these walls. The list of accomplishments that she has achieved over the last 4 years is entirely too long. Top scores at districts and state and all of these things. But going off script here a little bit, just truly a remarkable student who has embraced the philosophy of the program of service leadership and has caught the passion that I have for what I do every single day. It is an honor to do what I do, and I think she has caught that passion and run with it more so than most. So I look forward to the first phone call I get from her after she graduates that she needs me to guest conduct her band program because it will not be long before that's a reality. And so can we recognize Miss Jillian Bowe for that tonight? The Louis Armstrong Award is a nationally recognized award for outstanding performance in jazz. With the rebuild that we have done with the jazz program over the last few years, there's one senior whose talent and passion has rarely, whose talent and passion has really risen to new heights, and he has completely found his sound. He's actively participated not only in our jazz band and jazz combo this year, but also as a founding member of the newly formed Kalamazoo Jazz Youth Orchestra. He will be playing his horn long after these hallowed halls at Northern as he pursues his degree in jazz studies up the road at Western. Tonight's Louis Armstrong Award winner, Mr. Matthew Hurwitz. Come on up, Matthew. He's already setting up gigs. He asked if I'd call when he get to be a pro like Brandon. Too funny. And finally, the John Philip Sousa Award is a nationally recognized award and is one of the highest achievements for a high school band student. Created in 1955, the award honors the top student in a leadership position in a high school band program. It recognizes superior musicianship and outstanding dedication, with an emphasis in leadership. The award represents many long hours doing thankless jobs and sacrificing. This year's award winner is a fantastic leader. Simply put, when he acts or speaks, the other students listen and do. What makes him a great leader is his desire to lead comes from a deep-seated desire to help others. No task too small or large. When you delegate a task to him, he owns it, completes it, and it's with a high degree of excellence. He brings a sense of humor to rehearsals. He knows exactly when to deploy it to release the tension. While he's not pursuing music beyond high school in a formal capacity, I know he's going to make us really proud at the University of Michigan in the world-class Michigan Marching Band. Tonight's John Philip Sousa Award winner, Mr. Andrew Pridgeon. Y'all have some pretty great kids. I need to take a quick second to tell you two things. One, there's a glaring omission, and it was entirely my fault from the program. I have the luxury of teaching with one of the single greatest choral directors in Southwest Michigan and regionally, and he is sharing his time and talents. He challenges me, he does crazy things and causes me to grow, then I do crazy things and cause him to grow, and we have a dear friendship and a side-by-side program that just is doing incredible things. You are about to hear his organ stylings. He has a master's degree in organ performance that you may not know, and you're about to hear that with us. So can we collectively thank Robert Jordan for his time, talents, and energy tonight? And just as a bit of housekeeping, if you are so inspired to hear more of Brandon's music, he does have a couple of CDs available. Those are those circular things that you put into your you can also download his stuff off his website for a premium and check that out. He will also be available to sign programs, kiss babies, whatever you want to do. Please don't. But there is a little station out there that he will be set up in front of. Please just be kind and gentle. And then we are going to take about 10 seconds just to blow a few notes back through our horns, and then you are going to be treated. It's interesting. I had no idea that Brandon was recreating his senior year. The new familiar face is the last piece of that off the cover, is that this was the piece that I had the opportunity to conduct this band program with as an audition for this job. And if you read the program notes, which I hope you took time to do, this piece means an awful, awful lot to me. And so being that it's the 10th year, I thought no better time with these absolutely incredible kids to do a piece of music that completely changed my life, quite literally. And I just hope you hear the story that it's about to tell, and please turn down the ear hearing aids because it's going to get real fun. So give us about 10 seconds and then we'll have a little romp.